And good evening and welcome to Baker Forward, the Baker Chamber Edition. I'm your host, Bert Carson. You know, the first thing I want to talk about is we really need to shop Baker first. That's one of the big things that the Baker Chamber wants to push. And so if you have any kind of needs or any kind of services, please shop our Baker area first and try to keep your tax dollars here at home. My first guest is Randy Olson. He is the CEO at Lane Hospital up in Zachary, Louisiana, and a lot of you are familiar with that because if you've lived in Baker any time, Lane has been there and always been there for us. So I want to welcome Randy to the show, and Randy, glad you could come.
Well, great. Thank you very much for having me, Bert.
And as I said, I mean, Lane has been there. I know it was there before I was even born, so I mean, it's been around for a while. But tell us a little bit about the history of Lane up in Zachary.
I'd be happy to do that. I prepared a slide for your viewers. Lane opened in November of 1960, so it's been open, or it will be 53 years this November. We started out as a 40-bed hospital many years ago, and then we've grown over the course of time. We added, when we started, we were supported by taxes from the various people in the community, and that went on for about 14 years. Since the mid-1970s, we've been on our own. We've added services since then. Again, on the slide that you can see is there are the various things that we've added. And most recently, in 2000, we added our rehab center. And that's a 30-bed inpatient rehab center that provides rehabilitation for people that have had strokes or orthopedic injuries or anything that needs additional care other than acute care for the hospital. We also have added the cardiology services. We added that in cardiovascular center in 2008. And then in 2009, we added a 3-story medical office building that offers a lot of services for our community. Physician space there, as well as an endoscopy center and a diagnostic center on the first floor. And then in the future, and I'll talk about this in a few minutes, we're going to be adding radiation oncology services to Lane, which is really going to be a game changer for us. Cardiology brought us to a different level. Cancer services are going to bring us to even an additional level that I think will be great for the people in Baker, the people in this part of the parish. We'll talk a little bit later too about maybe the closure of Earl K. Long, right, that probably has some people concerned about where do I go for services now. So, but then let's talk a little bit about the growth in services. We do things like clinical trials that some people probably don't know about, but drug companies and other companies that need to get their drugs approved by FDA have to go through these drug trials with people, and we're offering that service to drug companies with the people who live in our area, help the doctors out, those types of things. And we're always looking for additional ways that we can provide services here, bring them to the community, make Lane more viable. We had behavioral health services about almost 2 years ago now. Did not realize the need for behavioral health services in the community, but a lot of people are dependent on it, needing it. We added vascular surgery services. We're going to continue to add additional services as time goes on.
Okay. Now, what would you consider, say, your service area for Lane?
Good question. When you think of population, we think of about, for our primary service area, about almost 70,000 people. And it's not a perfect ring around where Lane is located in Zachary. It certainly takes the northern part of the parish, Baker on up. We go into Central. We take care of people from the Felicianas. And we do get a lot of patients from southern Mississippi.
Okay.
With the new bridge that went across the Mississippi now, we're starting to see patients from Point Coupee Parish, New Roads area. So we're growing now. Primary service area about 70,000, and then the second, and that's where we get about 2/3 of our patient primary service area. When you take care of the secondary service area, that gets almost 200,000 people. But it's not, again, it's not a perfect circle. It's probably more to the north.
Right.
And again, with Earl K. Long closing this month, it's we're going to be seeing more patients coming up from, I think, that part of the parish as well.
Okay. Now, and I know you said, I mean, Lane started in 1960, and obviously I'm sure is a small hospital, but
Yes.
you've really developed into even more of a full-service hospital, like you said, with these additional services coming on board,
Yes.
right?
Yes. On our 45th anniversary in 2006, we decided, or 2005, we decided that we were going to change our name. So in January of 2006, we changed it from Lane Memorial Hospital to Lane Regional Medical Center, which we think better defines kind of what Lane does for the area. It's not just a small little hospital, but it's a regional medical center. So I think that's helped name recognition and help people feel better about it. But the cardiology program that we have implemented, and I think the oncology services that we'll talk about in a few minutes, those types of things have really made Lane probably more viable, certainly, and used by more people in our community.
Right, because I mean, I'm sure you've got, you know, there's a lot of the old Baker and Zachary people are still around, and that's what they need to understand, that y'all have actually pushed that envelope and
Yes.
and gotten, like I said, really more of that full service
Yes.
type of deal, but even getting into some of these specialties that you wouldn't normally see in a small hospital in a little town somewhere. And of course, Zachary's growing, so
Right.
so that. You know, I mean, that's what they need to realize. There's more there than what we all kind of remember growing up in the Baker Zachary area. So.
Exactly. And cardiology is probably one of those things, I think, that maybe a lot of people don't know. The other thing is, some people have asked me, do you deliver babies at Lane? Well, we've delivered babies at Lane from the beginning, and we're about 60 births ahead in this calendar year than we were a year ago. I think the people who maybe went to Earl K. Long, or now that Woman's Hospital has moved farther away down Airline Highway, people are looking for a place closer to town. We have had historically 3 OBGYNs, obstetricians and gynecologists. We're adding our 4th one in August, a second female. We have 2 male and 2 females, so it will be, it'll be additional services that I think really the community can embrace.
Okay. Well, good. We will be back after this commercial break, continue talking with Randy about Lane that's right here in our backyard in Zachary. We'll be right back.
WLFT joins all TV stations in our area, reminding you to rescan your digital TV sets so you can pick up all of the new TV stations, which are broadcast free over the air. Hey, you bought the new high-definition TV, so now enjoy the free over-the-air entertainment like the new Country Channel on 30.3, featuring 24-hour music videos and concerts direct from Nashville. More new channels are planned, so change the batteries in your smoke detector and rescan Baton Rouge.
The Baker Chamber edition. Again, we're continuing our talk with Randy Olson. He is the CEO at Lane Regional Medical Center right up here in Zachary. So, Randy, you talked in the last segment about some of y'all's newer services, and I think you wanted to get a little bit more in depth with that. So, what are some of the newer things that y'all have going on up there?
Probably the biggest thing that we're working on right now is radiation oncology. It's, for maybe some of your viewers that don't know what radiation oncology is, it's a very advanced piece of equipment that will send radio beams into the cancer cells in the body to kill them. And of course, what you want to do is make sure that it's well defined so it doesn't kill something that you don't want to kill. But in order to bring in a radiation oncology center, the piece of equipment is something called a linear accelerator. And on the slide back here, we see that radiation oncology is a part of our oncology service line. We're going to talk a little bit too about chemotherapy. But if you could show the next slide here, this is a mock-up, a floor plan of what the radiation oncology center is going to be. The building part on the bottom here is already in existence, where it says new addition, if the viewers can see that, the upper part, that's what we're going to build. The linear accelerator, which is this piece of equipment that shoots these beams into the body to kill cancer cells, is a piece of equipment that costs about $2 million.
That's all?
That's all.
Oh, okay. Not a problem.
But it does something that really should be able to help a lot of people. But in order to protect those beams from going haywire, they have to build we have to build a vault around it, which is cement, concrete that's between 3 and 5 feet thick all the way around the building. Otherwise, if these beams get out and go in directions that they're not intended to go, they could cause some damage to people or cars or whatever is behind it.
Right.
So we're in the process of doing that. We're going to be starting that building process the end of April, and it's going to take about 8 months to build, to get the linear accelerator in there, and then I think we should probably be in radiation oncology services by the end of the year. Okay. The next slide will show a side view of what the cancer center looks like. This is a west elevation. The building that we're building behind is a little bit taller than the current building, and maybe when they bring that up you can see that. But it's something that the community really needs. People from up here in that 70,000 population area I was talking to you about historically had to go into Baton Rouge or elsewhere for these services. And radiation oncology and chemotherapy are things that really wear a person out. It makes them sick a lot, and a person, if they have to drive too far to get these services, it just makes it very difficult on them. So we're really excited about bringing that. The chemotherapy part, where we put drugs into the patient through IV lines, we're doing a little bit of that already, but we'll really get that amped up probably again by the end of the year as well. So Lane will have a full service cancer service line starting the end of the year, early 2014.
Okay. On that linear accelerator, if that's correct.
Yeah.
I mean, is that something new? That's some new technologies that are kind of coming out, or I guess more precise technologies?
Yeah, it's not necessarily new technology, but if maybe you could equate it to a television set. Years ago, black and white, fuzzy, not very good pictures, but over the course of time, the television sets have gotten better, the high def. This is the same thing with this type of technology. They can get cancer parts or cells that are pretty small. The radiation therapists, the physicians, what they'll do is they'll be able to focus on minute spots with the current technology. So it's really exciting, and again, it's $2 million piece of equipment, so you can you can understand that it's new, it's great, it's the best, neatest thing on the market right now.
Okay. And will this be a piece of equipment you can use for all cancers, some cancers, or is that something you're still trying to figure out and work on? Or
I would say probably a lot of cancers, but not all cancers.
Okay.
I think it depends on how localized it is, and if it's in a spot that these beams can go in and get. If it's maybe behind the heart, you have to be careful with that, and if it's places that are hard to get to. That's probably above what my knowledge level is right now.
So maybe not necessarily the types of cancers, but the location of cancers would come more into play than the type of cancer or whatever. Okay.
Kind of both.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But good question.
Well, I mean, and I think it's a great investment that y'all are doing and a great help for the community because, you know, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, when you go to some of these treatments, I mean, you are, you know, even though you're just sitting there or whatever, I mean, those drugs and those things just wear you out.
Exactly.
And so if you're making a 5-minute drive instead of a hour-long drive or whatever, you know, that's going to be a lot better on the families as well.
Exactly.
So, all right, anything else on that division?
No, again, it unfortunately it takes time to put it all together, so it's going to be a 6, 8, 9 month process. But it's something that we're investing in. It's something that we're going to be able to bring to the community that we're really excited about.
Okay, and that'll be, you're looking towards the end of 2013?
Yes.
Okay.
December, January timeframe. We will we'll update the community on as we get closer. We'll have probably ribbon cuttings and those types of things.
Right.
So
Okay.
we'll make sure that people are well aware of what we're doing.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to take another break, and we're going to be back and wrap it up with Randy and tell you about some of the other exciting things happening at Lane Regional Medical Center.
Hey, Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. It's your friend Jay, and I'ma tell you true. If you want the best crawfish in town, you have got to go by the Crawfish Crib, located at 7869 Greenwell Springs Road and 9836 Florida Boulevard. Holler at Henry and ask him to hook you up with that Gold Rush garlic butter sauce on your crawfish and your crab legs, y'all. It's good. Have a good time.
And we're continuing here at Baker Forward, the Baker Chamber Edition, with our talks with Randy Olson, the CEO at Lane Medical Regional Hospital. And Randy, it sounds like, you know, if you're just now tuning in, you've missed a lot, because y'all are really progressing with a lot of new services. You're a full-service hospital. You've got a lot of specialties that people wouldn't think that you would have, and now you're, you know, looking in with the cancer treatments and all that. So that's some great things that Lane's doing, some great investments in the area, in the community. So I mean, you know, thank you for that. So now let's talk a little bit about the foundation at Lane. What is involved with it?
Okay. We attempted to start a foundation 6 or 7 years ago, and it just wasn't the right timing for us. So we revisited that about 6 or 8 months ago. And what we've done is we've set up a very viable foundation to help us support financially things that we couldn't do because of all the budget cuts in Medicaid, Medicare, some of the other indigent care that we have to provide where we don't get any money. So we set up a foundation. We have a foundation director. We have a director of the board of foundation, Frank Ragsdale. And we set up, on the screen here you can see, these really are 6 committees that we have. The first committee there is an annual gifts committee. We have a group of about 30 people that are helping us go out to people in the community, say, would you, when you're thinking about giving a gift to any charitable organization, think about Lane Regional Medical Center. The first gifts that we're going to be using from the foundation will be to help us with that radiation oncology center, because it's expensive. I just
Right.
shared that with you.
Right.
So annual gifts is an appeal to people that would like to give gifts annually, or maybe one time, or whatever, any magnitude, any amount of money that they want to give. At the same time, we're also doing it with our employees. We're asking our employees to give back to the organization where they work. Their gifts are going to be split into 2 parts. One is an employee benevolence fund, where their monies can help an employee that has a catastrophe in their life, maybe a house that burned down, or maybe a bad outcome in a surgical case or whatever. So their money can go to the employee benevolent fund or to the Foundation for Radiation Oncology. Then we also have a planned gifts committee, and this is, again, educating people that when I die, if I have any money left. Now, I think most people want to run out of time and money at the same time.
Right.
But if there's any money left, you want to have a legacy. You want to say, my money I would like to go to Lane, to whatever their needs are at the time, and we can help people set that up.
Okay.
And that's something called planned gifts. Special gifts is going out to people who want to make a 3-year pledge from anything from $10,000 to $50,000. Let's say I want to donate a portion of something, proceeds or whatever, but they can make a pledge for a 3-year commitment that maybe is, let's say it's $4,000 a month, so, or I mean a year. $4,000 plus $4,000, so $12,000 over a 3-year period. That will fall into special gifts. And then for people like you, we have something called signature gifts, where you can give $50,000 if you want to.
Sure.
We'll be happy to name something after you. I don't know what, but we'll name something after you. But again, it's our effort to try to provide things for the community that maybe would be a tremendous stretch for us that we couldn't fund out of our budget,
Right.
out of our annual budget. So there are plenty of opportunities. If anybody out there would like to know more about the foundation, I think we have my email address on here. You can certainly call Lane and we'll get you in touch with the right people. And for the last part of the segment, and you're going to be happy that it's almost over, I want to share with you that we are getting some new doctors.
Well, wait, before you talk about the doctors now,
Yeah.
when you come up with the Mars Rescue Unit,
Yes.
so that you can bring my daughter back from Mars, then
Okay.
that's going to be the wing that I'm going to donate.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Okay.
But we have.
But yeah, let's
we
talk
have-
about the new doctors you got coming
We
in.
have, and I'll show you on the screen here, we have 4 new doctors that are coming to the community. The first one is, and I forget what, cardiology. We have a new cardiologist. Our cardiology program is getting very, very busy. And what we need is we need additional doctors to take care of those patients. We're doing some tremendous services there, and we just don't have enough physicians to do everything we can. So we have a new doctor starting a new cardiologist starting in August. We also have a new family practice doctor who will be joining Zachary Family Practice. The practice used to have 4 doctors. One of the doctors went to go into an academic position, so we need to replace him. He's Tommy Gould is coming from Lake Charles residency program over there, but he's originally from Baton Rouge, and he wanted to move back to the area, so we have him coming. We also have a general surgeon who coincidentally was born at Lane, has gone away to medical school and is finishing up his residency at Ochsner in New Orleans, is going to come back to Lane to become a general surgeon.
That's kind of unique.
Yeah, Danny Bourgeois,
Uh-huh.
who grew up in Zachary, and he said he was born there. Why not come back there to practice? So that's going to be really cool. And then we have a female OBGYN that'll also be starting in August. We're really excited about her. I think a lot of women now who are looking for women's services would prefer to go to a woman doctor.
Right.
So Nikki Gautreaux, so we have a Bourgeois and a Gautreaux coming. That makes all the sense in the world. And here's an Olson from Minnesota, but anyway, whatever. But she'll be joining us also in August. And then most recently, in this past year, we added a vascular surgeon. There's a lot of diabetes and bad disease where we need somebody that can help us with the veins. So the vascular surgeon has been invaluable to help us with the services that we provide there. So we're going to continue to grow services, and the best way to do it is through the doctors.
Okay. And real quickly, we've only got just a few seconds left, but real quickly, you hit on that on the Earl K. Long thing.
Yes.
They'll be able to. What should people look for, real?
Well, we realize people have been seeking services there. Lane is open for business. We'll try to accommodate them any way that we can. We just don't really know what the magnitude is going to be.
Right. Okay. Well, Randy, I want to thank you. It was a very enlightening, and if you tuned in, you'll see all all the great services that y'all are bringing, the new cancer treatment, all the new doctors coming in. It's really great to see. The hospital that's gone, like you said, from a little small, however many beds in the 1960s to what y'all are growing to today, to this, like you said, regional medical center. So, again, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
And
You're welcome.
I want to thank all of you for tuning in. and we'll see you next time. Until then, God bless.